Hi, ladies, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm so excited to be with you today. I've missed all of you crazy badasses that are out there building businesses, and thank you so much for the quick little break we had to take during the summertime and get everybody back to school and just doing all the things that life requires. Sometimes, as moms and business owners, you need to check out to be able to check back in and be your big full self. So if you find yourself in that place that you're just kind of like, oh my gosh, I've got all these kids out for school. I'm trying to run a business and trying to be at home at the same time. Or like if you're in Arizona, we just put our kids back into school this week. And I was like, oh my gosh, somewhere you have to take a little break. And I think we beat ourselves up for that so much. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Take the break that you need. Come back better than ever. And I feel so great today. So I'm so excited to be here with you. And I just wanted to touch on something today. This is going to be kind of a quick podcast, but just really wanted to touch on something today that I recently heard through a podcast. And I was like, holy shit, they're so true. And you know what that was? They were on the topic of entrepreneurship, and they paused right at the end of the conversation and said, you're a weirdo, and you should be proud of that. So today, what I'd love to cover with you is if you're an entrepreneurial woman, you're a weirdo, and that's pretty fucking awesome. It is so brave to decide, you know what, I'm trading in whatever I had going on over here to bet on myself. It makes me really emotional even saying that, because what a life decision that is. And it's not just a career move. That is truly, truly a life decision. You are betting on yourself. That's a whole nother way of thinking about you. You're believing in you before you're putting your trust and security in anybody else to make sure that you have a job or a way to live your life monetarily. It's really awesome that you're making this choice. And if you're one of these babes that's kind of on the fence of, I don't know, do I leave my secure job? Do I jump into entrepreneurship? Do I kind of dabble in it? Do I do what the hell do I do? I'm talking to you today. I'm also cheering on the ones that are brave enough to just roll up their sleeves, put on their boots, and be like, I'm going to make this work. I am totally going to make this work. There's a book by Matthew Higgins. It's called Burn the Boats, and it's one of my favorite reads ever. And a lot of times I think when we jump into entrepreneurship, we think, well, we'll try it. And if it doesn't work, I have plan B. And the whole premise of the book is if you really want what you say you want, and you want to build and create your own life, and you want to do amazing things, stop making plan B first. Get rid of plan B. This is what we're doing. And if shit hits the fan, we'll figure it out then. But there isn't a plan B, because when you have a plan B or a backup, hence the plan B, do you really ever put your full heart into plan A? I don't believe that you do. But that's my opinion. And I think that if you really, really want what you say you want, you pour yourself into it and you give her hell. And the only way that that is going to fail, girlfriend, is if you decide to stop trying. We know sometimes with businesses, it might not be the right idea. It might not be the right product that you're trying to sell. It might not be the right service. But you change the idea, you change what you're selling, you listen to your customers, and you figure it out so that you can make a business go. Because if you are like I am, and you're hyper independent, and you don't like people telling you what to do, and you want to create your own life and not have limitations monetarily or with your time freedom, you'll find something you can create that does work in the marketplace. So today I have 5 ideas about why I think you're a weirdo and why it's so fucking awesome. I think one of the biggest things with this is many times people will say, Must be nice, which if you listen to the podcast, you know I hate that saying so much. Oh my God. I listened to people growing up say that so many times in such a depressed area where I grew up at. And I'm like, go change it. Go do something. Most of the time, we don't even realize what kind of power we hold. Do you realize that you can make a decision today that will completely change your life? Like that. You have the power to do that. You have the power to blow shit up, and you have the power to create something amazing. It depends on where you put your energy. So let's work on creating something amazing. If you're on the fence about becoming an entrepreneur, I hope today doesn't scare you, but I am the girl that is really real and really authentic with what it looks like to be an entrepreneur, and it's fucking hard. If you haven't sat on the floor with your hands in your face crying, saying, "What am I doing?" at least a few times a year or a month for me sometimes, are you trying? Are you in there? Are you trying to do the big things? It should scare you because you haven't done it before. But you can create a level of energy that you can use to fuel negativity and doubts, or you can create energy to fuel positivity and possibilities. And I really want you to start channeling to the latter there of fueling potential, possibilities. What's out there for me? What can I create? If you need to skill up, babe. You have what it takes, and it's one decision. It's just one decision. I think one of the most important things that I would like to touch on right at the beginning here is that people think when you go into business for yourself, I don't have to work as much as I used to. And girlfriend, let me just tell you this. You will be trading in your 40-hour work week for an 80-hour work week. And the crazy ones, the weirdos, love it. I would rather work 80 plus hours a week for myself, creating and building a business, than working 40 hours a week for somebody else. I'm spending 80 hours a week building my dream, not 40 hours a week building someone else's. So if you're in a season where you're working those crazy hours trying to make this work, I just had a great conversation with one of my dear, dear friends and podcast alum, Kim, and her business is fucking exploding, and it's so cool to see what is happening. She's like, I'm losing my mind. I'm working so many days. I'm like losing myself. And I understand that. And it's a phase. And what we talked about was, what else do we need to do in this? If you find yourself working insane hours for a very long time, you got to look at what you need to fix in your business. For her, she needs to hire somebody. She needs some help. She can't be everything to everybody, which is very, very difficult when you're a new entrepreneur, because nobody's going to love this business as much as you are. And just being okay with that, sit with that for a moment. No one is going to love it as much as you. But if they love it 80% and they're getting 80% of what you put into this in that role, oh my gosh. And you know what? You might just be super, super, super amazed. People might come in and do it better than you. Yeah, they might do it better than you. Kind of a thought we don't want to wrestle around with, but it's very true, because I've hired people and got the hell out of their way and was like, wow, thank you. This is exactly what I needed. But when you start a business, you're going to be everything. You're going to be wearing all the hats. You're going to be doing all of this. Can you get back to the 40-hour work week? Sure. But many people that are entrepreneurs will continue to keep working at a much higher level than a 40-hour work week. I would even take this to the next level of what we're discussing here too, and stop thinking that because you own a business, you have to be there 40 hours a week if you've developed it enough to have a team. Because you don't. You've hired people now that can do that for you. I think when you come from working a 40-hour work week into entrepreneurship, many times it can feel like you have to be working during the hours of 9 to 5. which, let's be brutally honest, I thought that for a long time. I have to be at the office if my office is open, but I don't. I need to be where I need to be to help grow this business. And if you're there from 9 to 5, or you're the first one there and the last one to leave, I know damn well you're going home. And then you're adding on to that and even doing more work once you get home. You need to prioritize what your responsibilities are, not the hours that you're there. Efficiency, as you grow as an entrepreneur, will increase if you continue to keep learning and growing and working on professional and personal development. You're going to be able to get things done in a much lower time than you did before because you have skilled up in this. So although it may be temporary that you're working you've traded in 40-hour work weeks for an 80-hour plus work week, your job as an entrepreneur at that point, once you start getting a rolling business, is to figure out who you need to hire next to be able to get into the modality of putting yourself in there for time, putting in your health and wellness in there for time, your family and your relationships. Because I truly, truly do believe that you can build one badass business, babe, without messing up your relationships, without ignoring your children, without giving up your mom duties, and without giving up your friends and your me time. You can figure it out. And it's not that you necessarily have to be working those 80 hours, but it's a willingness to do it if it is required. Because some weeks you're like, I have so much work to do, I don't know what to do. And so you just grind it out. And sometimes, babe, when you are in a business and you are building something, there's going to be a grind. There is. But the most important thing to remember is that that grind shouldn't last forever. And if it's lasting for a really long time for you, look at your staff. Maybe you need to hire someone. And I understand that first hire is the scariest thing ever. I liken that to if you're a mom, the first time you hire a babysitter for your new baby, and you're like, oh my gosh, and do this, and do this, and do this, and do this, and do this. And then when it's your third or fourth baby, you're like, can you keep them alive for 2 hours? I'll be back. It gets like that within the business too, because after that first hire, you realize how much it does help and contribute to the growth of your business, and you can't wait to get the next one in the door. Another thing I think that's very important to point out, number 2, I would say creating your own energy is on you. Many times when we look at building something or we want to start something new, we're like, well, I'm just not motivated, or I just can't find the time, or. We create our own energy. I love how Brendan Burchard says, you are the energy plant. You create the energy that you want to have. You want to have a shitty day? You can create shitty energy. You want to have a positive, amazing day? You can create positive energy. Which one serves you more? I'm a huge, huge energy person. I can walk into a room and sense the people that I want to talk to and the people that have great positive energy. And I think in order for you to be able to be really good at that, you have to have good energy. Energy is contagious. That is something that I love about this community and I love about this podcast. And I hope I'm putting this into your ears right now. I have such high energy all the time. I love it so much. And so many people are like, it's so infectious. It's great. I love it when you talk because you just put off great energy. That energy is a real thing. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. When you are acting in high energy, you attract high energy. And if you don't believe me, go to a networking event where you know no one there and walk in with some high energy. People will be drawn to you like a magnet. It's so rare in today's world that you show up with good positive energy. Be the light that people are looking for. Good high energy really is a light beacon for people in the world today. You want to create something amazing. You want to be a stellar killer leader. You want to have a team that's excited to work and help you build your vision. I don't give a shit how you feel that day. You show up with high energy. There's some days I go into my office that I'm like, having the worst day. Maybe I got in a fight with my husband. Maybe I'm worried about something with my kids. Maybe it's a financial thing in the business that I'm worried about. No one knows that because I walk in with high energy. I am the energy setter in that office. And if I walk in there and I'm like, oh, shitty day today, and I start complaining and I start whining, what do you think the rest of my staff is going to do? They're going to follow suit of what I have just put off to them. Same thing in your relationships. If you feel like things are going on a downward decline in friendships, maybe your marriage, maybe, a relationship that you're in, start leveling up your energy. Energy is something that people want to mirror and match. If they're really negative energy, you just want to stay away from them anyways. But if they're typically high energy and they're struggling with stuff, if you can show up with high energy, oh my gosh. Girl, the impact is insane when you start focusing on the energy that you're putting off. You're always making somebody feel something, whether you make them feel like you brush them off. Maybe you walk into the office and you didn't stop and ask the person that is answering your phones how their night was the night before. How was their move yesterday? How was the wedding anniversary? There's so many things that you can do to connect with people and bring that high energy. And I would just so challenge you to start showing up that way and just see what a difference it makes in your life. You got a kid that you're struggling with, show up with high energy all the time. Don't match their energy, especially if you've got teenagers and you're running into some issues with that. Show up with high energy and watch what it does. It's magic. It's like magic medicine. I truly believe that it is. Another thing that makes you a total weirdo is that you are willing to sacrifice your study 40-hour-a-week job security to go create your own security. This is where you start betting on yourself, babe. You have to have a conviction so strong in your body that I will take care of me. I can do this. I believe in what I'm doing. I refuse to give up with this. I refuse to allow outside things influence me or get me down. I love to say that I am a very unemployable human being. And I know that to be true because I don't like people to tell me what to do. And I don't like people to have control over my time because I need to be there for my family and for my kids when they need me. That is the number one reason why I chose to be an entrepreneur. When I had my baby 15 years ago, I decided that I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to work on someone else's time schedule. And I was never going to have someone tell me I couldn't be to my kid's soccer game or to a band concert or anything like that. That was my motivation behind that. That is all the security that I need, is making sure that my kids are never looking around the room wondering if mom made it, because they know with 100% assurity that I'm there. I grew up like that, and I will not do that to my children. And that is my driving force in doing that. I also want the opportunity to be able to build something that I envision and to be able to select my team of people that are going to help all of us build a bigger, brighter future. What I want is I want to create a culture of where I go into work that I absolutely love and adore and I have control over. I'm not walking into a negative environment or someone that doesn't believe in professional and personal development or someone that's not in a coaching and leadership mindset, but rather a disciplinary and pointing fingers mindset. You have to decide what kind of an environment you want to live in. And a lot of us in our working life are in an environment that we don't like. But we think we've got job security because we get a paycheck every Friday or every other Friday. That is not job security. To me, job security is betting on myself. I understand that it takes some serious mindset shifts to be able to get to that point where you're like, I can fucking do this and nobody's going to tell me that I can't. But I would challenge you, if you're not quite there yet and you're wanting to become an entrepreneur, that you really explore what that looks like. How do I get that mindset that I believe in myself so deeply that I'm willing to trade in this for an opportunity to build my own dreams? One great way that I think is a good way to start with that is the Growth Day app. I love it so much. Links are in the show notes. I love being part of this community so much. And it is led by Brendan Burchard. He is a great personal and professional development coach. It is something that is fire in my ears every morning that motivates me to continue my day with an amazing mindset. If you have any questions about that, love to talk to you about it. But there's plenty of things out there. It's not just Growth Day. There's anything that you can get into. We've done a lot of things. You hear me talk about Tony Robbins all the time. There's a millions of podcasts out there. Ed Milet's podcast, the one today, oh my God, is so good. That's talking about looking at stuff through other people's lenses. Are you acknowledging people? Are you showing up as the best human that you can and creating a great environment for people? Pretty much what we're talking about today is on that podcast. You can search out things like that if you really want to make a change in your life. And I would highly recommend that you do that, because it's just an amazing change in your life when you're like, I hold the power to create the future that I want. It's not in someone else's hands. I think that's one of the most powerful parts of being a weirdo, is knowing that you get to create your dream life and that you're not subject to what someone else wants you to create. Another part of being a weirdo, but being fucking awesome at it, is truly embracing uncertainty, and that you are willing to pivot like a little basketball player under the rim. And what I mean by that is you have to be ultimately flexible. You have unpredictable, uncertain times in entrepreneurship where you're, like I said earlier, maybe sitting on the floor with your hands in your face saying, what the fuck am I doing? I can't figure this out. But it's also one of those things that you have to have enough courage to ask people. And that's why being in part of a community like Ladies Kicking Ass is so incredibly important, is that you have that support. I say so many times on this podcast, if you're struggling with something, please reach out to me. I've had a couple of you reach out to me recently saying, look, this is going on for me. What do you think about this? And I love having these conversations with you. It's so important that you know that you have someone to back you up when these uncertain times come, when you need to pivot. Maybe you need some encouragement or some advice on what the hell you're supposed to even pivot to. I think back of like the old adage of, in the story of Blockbuster and Netflix. Netflix went to Blockbuster and was like, hey, this is what we're doing. We're sending DVDs through the mail. Like, would you guys like to buy us out, type of thing? Like, they were building a business in hopes the Blockbuster would buy them out. A Blockbuster turned them down because they were like, nobody is going to get DVDs through the mail. They want to come in and have the experience of actually picking them out. Well, look who is a titan in business now and who doesn't exist. They weren't able to see the future. They weren't able to pivot. They weren't flexible to think, maybe there's a different user experience coming up. It's the way it had always been, and they weren't willing to shift. And because of that, it cost them their business. And I see this happen so many times. People start out with a business idea, and this is what I'm going to sell, and this is what my service is. And then they get mad and upset because people don't buy it. Maybe your messaging sucks. Maybe your sales approach isn't great. Maybe the messaging of who you serve isn't wonderful. Lastly, it's typically the price, because if you can demonstrate the value and it's a really good program or service, ahead of that, you should be able to sell it still. Maybe ultimately you need to look at the price of what it is. However, if you are trying to sell something like a DVD player to someone right now that can get live stream anything really in the world that they want to watch at the snap of a finger and a tap of a button, you're unwilling to be flexible. You're unwilling to adapt with the changing times. And so I think one of the most important things, if you're going to be a weirdo like the rest of us, is that you have to embrace that uncertainty. You have to embrace the adaptability. You have to be willing to pivot. You have to be willing to listen to your customers. And you have to be willing to bring something to them that they actually want. It is also very, very important during these uncertain times or slower seasons or things like that, that you have support to talk to. Don't keep the stuff in yourself. And I'm telling you this, again, from an emotional standpoint, I did this to myself for years. This is the reason why I created Ladies Kicking Ass, is because I don't want people to feel alone. I want women entrepreneurs, especially in the home service industry, to be able to reach out to people that have already made it to a level that they're dreaming of and ask them how they got there. And that person is willing to share what they did. It's not a secret sauce. Everybody on social media wants you to believe they have the secret recipe. They have the secret sauce. They have a proprietary way of getting you leads and doing all this stuff. It's the same shit everybody else is doing. Don't fall for that. And if they're keeping it so secret and gatekeep that they aren't willing to share some things with you, they're not your people. And I understand that there's a business and that people make money off of that. But when you're in a group like we are in Ladies Kicking Ass, there are so many women in here that are just willing to sit down and have a conversation with you, because we're here to give back. I truly, truly believe that you need to have 3 communities in your life. And I learned this from my sweet friend, Lindsay Schwartz. You need to have a community that you are learning from and that you aspire to be. Those people that are ahead of you, those people that are living the lives that you're dreaming of right now. You need to have a community of badass women that you can collaborate with. Who can you do cool things together with so you don't have to carry the burden of doing all of this shit yourself? You can create amazing things when you find amazing women. I'm going to meet my friend Nicole this afternoon. She was recently on the podcast. We've built a great friendship and she's awesome. And we're going to put together a no bullshit business summit for women that want to learn how to run the basic parts of their business. Super cool. I just spilled the beans on that. But I can't wait to do this with her. And it's something that we get to tag team and we get to share together, because we both have great input to help women build a dream business. And the other community that you need to have is someone that you're helping. How can you lend your expertise and your knowledge to someone that's coming up? You're living someone else's dream life right now. Do you understand that? Do you know how badass that is? You're living someone else's dream life right now. How can you turn around and extend help to them to pull them up to where you're at? If we would do this more as women, I can't even tell you how fucking awesome this world would be. You know, we say it all the time. And we're like, women need to be president. Women need to be running this shit show. Wouldn't be such a shit show. Now, if we could really embrace that in our own personal lives with each other outside of being the president of the United States, that's where the impact is. I can't tell you how incredible it is that I continue to show my daughter as a teenager who I am outside of being her mother. Have that impact. Let them see you in the workplace. Take them to networking events with you. Take them to awards that you're getting. Take them so they can see what you have done. Take them so they can see what you've created. Take them to community things where you're going to be in there either teaching or learning from people or maybe even collaborating with others so that they can see what is possible. How many of us ever saw that modeled for us when we were teenagers? I can only imagine what my life would have been like if that would have been modeled for me. And I'm not saying that that's a terrible thing that it wasn't, because I've learned this myself. But this is where I think we have the opportunity as mothers, as women, as entrepreneurs, as fucking weirdos to change the way that was kept quiet from us, if you will, when we were younger. I truly, truly, truly try to live every day to be that woman for my kids that I needed as a child. To show up for them, to show them what's possible, to leave a legacy that it's not weird to own a construction company as a woman. It's awesome. It's a superpower. It's not weird to celebrate your wins as a woman and to tell people, I won this award. That's really fucking awesome. I want them to learn that. And I see that so much within my daughter now about her celebrating the things that her friends are doing. Most teenage girls pick oh, well, yeah, she could have, but then her clothes or something just stupid like that. Let them see you. Let them see you be your authentic self. Let them see you serve. Let them see you help other people. That's a lasting legacy change that can continue to make waves and change the world that we live in. You have the power to do that. You choosing to show up for yourself changes the way other people think. Even if you think nobody is watching you, I guarantee you that if you're willing to put yourself out there to build a business or to start some kind of revolution of like helping people, a nonprofit, I'm bringing light to foster children system, I am bringing light to homelessness, I am bringing light to whatever your cause is, you're making a ripple effect. And it's really, really cool. And the last thing I want to talk about in being a really big weirdo and it being really, really awesome is that you decide to believe in yourself. You have built trust in the vision of what you're trying to create, and that you hold that tight amongst all the criticism and doubt. Many times people in our lives, they just want to protect us. They're not trying to discourage us. And maybe they don't know how to encourage us. But what they're trying to do is keep you safe. Ooh, you sure you want to leave that 6-figure job and start your own business? I mean, you have health insurance over here. Yeah, I'm sure I want to. Health insurance should never be the reason why you stay in a crappy job unless it is, I'm using this on a serious basis all the time. And then I dare to tell you that you could probably be starting something on the side that maybe can get you out of that. I always find that fascinating when I know people are unhappy in a job. They don't want to work in corporate America, but because they have benefits, they won't leave. I've been an entrepreneur for 15 years. More than half of that, I've had my own benefits because I budgeted for them and I figured it out. You can do that too. And I'm not saying this to be snotty or sly or anything like that. I'm telling you this because I need you to see someone that is doing it and they have benefits. I'm doing this so that I can show you a model for you that it's possible for you too. And it's possible for you to build a team where you cover their benefits. I have a team in my pumping business and I pay 100% of their medical insurance. We have a team of 11 now, and I pay for all of it because we've budgeted it so that it's a great benefit we can offer to our team members. It's a great recruitment tool because I don't know one other septic company in this entire valley that offers something like that. It's a value proposition for bringing in and recruiting people. You have to believe that you can do it. What makes you a weirdo, makes you really fucking awesome at the same token, is that you believe in you, babe. No one is ever going to believe in this vision the way that you believe in it. No one is ever going to see your vision the way that you see it. No one is going to understand the craziness and the outlandishness of what you think is possible with this business except for you. And one of my biggest pieces of advice with that, when you decide, I'm going to bet on myself, I'm going to build this business, I'm going to leave this other place and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to slay dragons and I'm going to kick ass. Don't look for validation from other people in saying you're doing a good job, you're kicking ass, you're on the right track, because you won't find it. You'll have a few people that will cheer you on. But in today's society, it is much more common that someone responds to a post on Facebook that says, uh-oh, I'm in trouble, ... So I did a thing, ... And it's this I'm crying out for help situation versus, hey, I just won this award. Look how kick-ass this is. Hey, I just built this business. Hey, follow my page. Do this. You'll get way more people that will respond to the drama than to respond to the celebration. And that's okay. Because a lot of people aren't used to cheering for themselves, let alone cheering for others. But if you can learn to cheer for yourself, I can only just give good vibes off to you on how you show up for other people. When you believe in yourself, you show up for people in a whole other way. And I'm not saying you're not going to have self-doubt along the way. You could ask my husband. That happens probably on a weekly basis. That I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But you know what the conscious decision is? That I continue to get up every morning and that I continue to keep going. And it's okay to have some of that self-doubt. It's okay to not know what to do next. But it's not okay to give up if you want to be a real, true weirdo. If you want to be a real weirdo, you can embrace that you don't know what to do. You can embrace that sometimes you feel like you're failing. But you have the courage to ask for help. And please, please know that that is the whole purpose of this Ladies Kickin' Ass community. I want to help you. Women in this community want to help you. And I want you to succeed beyond your wildest dreams. I want you to have a business you are so proud of. I want you to know that you've grown so much just personally in order to build and even decide to start a company. Do you know what a huge thing that is? And I want to say something big time here. There are so many of you women out there with multi-million-dollar ideas in your head, and you're too damn scared to start. You're too scared of what other people are going to say about you. What's my mother-in-law going to think if I start this business? What's my husband going to think if I start this? What's my best friend going to think about this? You will change, I will tell you this, as you grow as an entrepreneur. If you make the decision to become an entrepreneur, you will change and you will grow. And you will outgrow some of your relationships. And that's okay. You're supposed to. I think we're supposed to outgrow relationships all the time. I think we're supposed to outgrow who we used to be often. I don't want to go out and party and go drinking on the weekends and hang out at the pool and do nothing all day long. That's such a waste of time to me. For some, that's their relaxation. That's the way that they recreate. That is what they do. And I'm not saying that a fun day at the lake isn't something that can happen a couple times a year, but some people choose to do this on a weekend basis every single weekend. That's just not for me. It used to be. Oh, I used to love to do that. But it's not for me anymore because I've grown personally, I've grown professionally, and there are things that I want to do with my life that I can't do if that's what I choose to do in my free time. So becoming a weirdo takes a lot of guts. Becoming a weirdo means you might have to leave the old you behind. Becoming a weirdo will require you to level up and change your mindset. Becoming a weirdo, becoming an entrepreneur is also, in my opinion, one of the best decisions you'll ever make if you want to grow and become the ultimate you. Have a fantastic week, ladies, and I can't wait to talk to you next week again on the Ladies Kicking Ass podcast. And if you haven't yet, check out the link in the show notes and make sure that you sign up for the amazing membership that we have coming up here. That's right. We are going to be launching the Badass Inner Circle, where if you like coaching and you like heart to heart and you like this authentic, like, come on, sister, let's go, let's rally, and you want to get some really amazing mentors that's going to help you build your business, that's the place you want to be, girl. So make sure you check it out in the show notes. Thank you so much again. And if you're on the fence, or if you've already taken the jump, I'm proud of you for being a weirdo.